train. And you'll tap.
Oh.
Hi, I'm Fran from The Weekly. In 1980, the children's birthday cake book was first published. And to celebrate its 45th birthday, around this beautiful table, we've got Sally Kennard, Pamela Clark, Agnes Lee and Sue Christmas, the original creators of these cakes from the Australian Women's Weekly Test Kitchen. Let's talk about the cover girl. Agnes, how did the idea come for the train cake?
There was a train strike. I was at the station. I look at the train. I say, I can't make a train. So many people. And then they come along a train that only carry coal. I say, yes, I can. I can put things on the carriage and not people.
Sally, you created the Candy Castle.
Yes, my father's spent time in America and he brought back this picture of a castle and I thought it was absolutely amazing. I was only 6 and it always stayed in my mind. So in my 20s, I finally made this cake.
So Pamela, have you got any trauma around any of the cakes in the book?
The dreaded tip truck. Mrs. S said to me, I'd really like a truck. Her grandson, Jeremy, loves trucks. I made that dreaded tip truck and it was held together with skewers and all sorts of things because it defied gravity. And I said to Mrs. S, what do you think of this? And I hated the green, I hated everything about it. And she said, let's shoot it, little darling.
That's how she speak, yes.
And there it is in the book.
And Sue, tell me about one of the cakes that you've made.
I did the piano, and I remember it was at that time where we're trying to think of more and more, and I just happened to walk past the piano and I thought, piano. So it was just what you saw. You'd be watching things every day. Wasn't it Mrs. S that said with the duck, she bathed her grandchildren and they had the rubber ducky?
She actually had it in her handbag and pulled out the rubber ducky. It's our last cake. This is what we are doing.
How did you visualise it coming to life?
I came up with 2 packets of packet cake that can be the body. Then I stare at it and I say, how can I use a cake to make a beak and doesn't fall? I just gave up. I went out for lunch. The milk bar was next door and I saw packet chips. I said, yes, that can be beaks.
That was a stroke of genius. But I love the little red bow and the buttons.
When you look at closely at the original book, the rubber ducky still have a crack right in the middle. The reason is Russell came in with the transparency is approved. And I say, yep, chuck. In the bin it went. After 10-15 minutes, he came back. Where's the duck egg? So I dug it out. And because it's drying, it has a crack. That's why the bowl is so big. Because I try to hide it. Every time I look at the crack,
You have a laugh.
That's such a great story. What do you think about Bandit in the Bluey series doing a rendition of your cake?
it's all about fun when the head come off. The whole family have fun. When I saw that, I said, that's it. That's what it is about.
So Pamela, tell me about how this book came to fruition.
Weren't there a couple that had actually appeared in the Weekly?
Probably.
Yes. And the response to them was terrific. Right. And then we talked about, why don't we do a book? But interestingly, it wasn't a popular move. People saying, won't sell, won't sell. And so we fought for it. And then off we went. It probably took about 2 years, really, to pull the cakes together.
I was going to say we had a meeting and then it was discussed what we were going to do and then it was divvied up.
So a good old-fashioned brainstorm.
Yes. Sometimes we are asked to do certain cakes, but most of the time it's just a cake day. So we all go back without any idea what the others are doing and come back the next day. And then we start to make it.
So ladies, who was the infamous Mrs. S?
Well, her name was Ellen Sinclair. And I think she liked being called Mrs. S.
She did, yes. So she was the food editor at the time and she treated you all the same, all well, and she wanted us all involved in ideas and...
She lived on tomato sandwiches and gin and
No,
tonics.
wait, gin in the summer, brandy in the winter.
and
Yes.
cigarettes. She'd be
And
typing away
cigarettes,
with the
yeah.
cigarette hanging out of the ash would be dropping on the, she was a real character.
And why was it decided that all the cakes were to be based on a packet cake?
Simplicity was, people didn't have to buy a lot of ingredients?
Because if we gave the people a regular butter cake recipe, you can bet that it's going to come out in different heights. So if we stuck to the good old basic packet mix, they'd all turn out how we said they'd turn out.
Mrs. S philosophy is that this magazine is for the mass. So everything that they have to go to specialty place to buy is a no-no. But one main thing is that you can cut the cake whichever way you think it needs to be, but no wastage as much as possible.
That's right.
You
Yeah.
don't
That
want
was
to
the
throw
golden rule.
any bit.
Yes.
No
So
wastage.
I make sure I use every bit of the cutout and put it back
Yes.
one way or another.
Did you make a lot of these cakes for your children growing up?
Yes, I did, but you knew which were the difficult ones. So you used to stick those pages together
Oh, no,
so they
that's
couldn't
tricky.
find that. And my son, who's now 46, took him a long time to work it out. And he said, Mum, that was really devious.
So what were the trickiest cakes?
The truck was pretty hard, and the train, it wasn't that, it was just more time consuming.
So if you had your time over again, is there any cakes you would like to redo?
Not really. To me, it takes away something special. There's no other time that's ever been the same as that. It was stressful and tension, but there was also a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yes, each one was an individual piece from that person.
It's almost, they're perfectly imperfect.
Makes
Yes.
people feel I can make it too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, ladies. This conversation has been a dream come true for me. You really were the trailblazers of the Australian Women's Weekly Test Kitchen, so we owe you a lot of gratitude. And I think there's only one thing left to do, and that's let's celebrate with some cake.
Sounds good.
Absolutely.